great to see you again. Another Thunderhawk coaching video today. So something I'm going to explore with you guys today is, what is self-esteem? So self-esteem, by the dictionary definition, is confidence in one's own worth or abilities and self-respect. But I want to look at that a little more specifically today, and I want to put a little bit of a spin on that definition. So I think confidence is a really interesting thing to outline here. And in my opinion, I think that self-esteem comes from your ability to handle and navigate suffering more than anything else. So if we think about life, right? If we're going through our day to day, right? I don't know if you've seen these people. These people look really confident, right? And they like handle and they go through these situations really calmly. Maybe you know someone like this, a friend, a colleague, a carer, a parent, whatever. And they're kind of just like doing their thing, right? A lot of the theory I've had on this for a while is like, you like navigate that because like the outcomes themselves that might happen, you can like handle and navigate, right? So if we think about the example of like going to a store, okay? So you've gone to a store and you've like picked up an apple from the store, okay? Now, as you walk into the store and go and pick up that apple, right? Depending on where you're at in life, you might feel like uncomfortable with that or unconfident with that, right? And you might see this with like younger people or people that have really high levels of social anxiety that find it really hard to go and be in spaces where other people could be, right? So this could be like a very low level of self-esteem because their anxious mind, their future projecting mind might be like, if we walk into a store and somebody sees us, they might be mean to us, okay? And that's a situation we feel we can't handle. That's a situation we expect to happen, and because we expect to happen, we can't handle it, right? If somebody comes up to us and they're mean to us, then we often know it's gonna probably hurt us, right? Like I don't know about you guys, when I was very socially anxious historically, I was worried about people being mean to me and not being able to handle it, or being judged, or being seen a certain way. So here's a reframe I kind of want to offer to you guys when we think about self-esteem in this context, right? This really simple example of going and buying an apple in a grocery store is like, in your head, what, like, let's play this tape through, right? Like, what would it feel like for you if you went up and you picked an apple and somebody comes up to you and they kind of judge you? And you might initially think, wow, like that would be awful and I'd feel terrible and like I wouldn't want to go back there and handle that. But like, what does that say a little more about kind of your self-esteem and like how stable your sense of self is? Right? So this comes to a broader topic to me of like the idea of ego, of who you think you are. Right? So I often think of the anxious brain and the scenarios it creates really aligns with like the damage we assume we're going to take from the world. And I'm going to be a bit more concrete about that. We're going to come back to the apple example, okay? So so something for me, I've had challenges with my weight and body image for many, many years. Okay, so something that would really come up for me when I would go into a store when I was at my heaviest of 400 plus pounds is I would think, and I'd go to the store and I would be really worried about taking up too much space. I would be really worried about making other people uncomfortable with my size or intimidating other people with my size, because I'm also quite tall, 6'2". I'd also be worried about how people would judge me if I engaged with certain foods, right? So if I was just in certain aisles, I would get a bit anxious. And I kind of looked into that a bit deeper. And I guess it was kind of my ego here, my sense of self, who I think I am, maybe the rules on the wall of my mind that say this is how things should be, right? Fat people shouldn't be around food if they don't want to be fat anymore. Fat people are subhuman. That was a rule for me for a while, right? I had this idea that people who are overweight were less valuable than people who were of a more conventional weight, healthy weight. And looking at these ego rules and thinking about these kinds of like judgment rules that we put on ourselves when we go into these situations can help us like feel through these situations more, okay? So when we want to build self-esteem, to come back to the top of the argument, right? It's kind of like understanding the rules that are provoking this emotional response for you. For me, it was being fat and taking up space that I feel other people would hate me for, or would say mean things to me, or I would get bullied because I was historically bullied for my weight, and understand where all of these come from. So when we go back in that scenario in the store going to get the apple, oh, okay, so I'm feeling anxious now. So this is like an in-moment awareness. I'm feeling anxious now because I assume somebody's going to judge me for like being near food and being overweight. Like, what would that mean for me to be like judged like that? That would hurt, right? That would hurt. But like, is there a part of me that, I guess there's part of me that might believe that, right? And that's something else to work through. And at Thunderhawk Coaching, we can certainly look at that when we think about self-esteem. But when you have these beliefs, a huge part of the process in developing self-esteem and confidence is to actually just sit with them. It's something I've really noticed when we're looking at building self-esteem is like understanding the emotions that tear us down and the rules on the wall of our mind, the ego, and then really just sitting with them more and more. Because initially we're going to think, man, if somebody says, hey, you're a fat idiot for like going to the store and buying an apple, that's going to hurt the first time, right? And the second time it's also going to hurt a little bit, but it might hurt a little less. And the more we play through this scenario, the more we can kind of condition ourselves to be used to that, right? It's still not okay if it happens, and being angry is a normal, natural response, okay? Anger is there to protect us. It's a healthy emotion. But when I think about kind of being anxious and then not having very high self-esteem because you anticipate these negative situations coming up, I think it's really important to think about what forces in your head are telling you that's happening. So really understand those written rules in your head, right? Because they're going to really define your self-esteem, right? You're going to have rules on the wall of, well, fat people are subhuman. So for me, if I'm a fat person and I'm subhuman and I'm out in society, I'm going to assume I deserve less than other people. I'm going to assume I don't deserve space. I'm going to assume that people think I'm fat. They do, but dumb, annoying and inconvenient, not deserving of being part of communities and society, right? And people can be cruel. People can absolutely engage in the ways your anxious mind might think they will. But when we carry those assumptions about how the world works, that leads to us having less and less space to operate as people. And then we're suffocating. We're stuck. We can't move. And this is where I see people getting stuck all the time. It's actually about how much agency you feel you have over your life, what kind of rules we've got that keep you stuck in less and less space. And how can we be with the feelings that come out of breaking those rules? Now, I'm going to encourage you all to sit with something today. At the end of this video here, I'm going to say to you guys, I want you to think through one stressful experience you went through. And I want you to write it down, whatever it is. And just sit with the emotions. Write the emotions down. Get an emotion wheel. I'll link one in chat. And just see what comes out of it. It might be really hard for you. And I also want to be empathetic in this process because I'm asking you to push yourself emotionally. I'm asking you to be uncomfortable. That sucks and that is hard. And we're all tired. We're all struggling. We're all pushing and doing the best we can with what we have. Okay? So, looking at this stuff could be really activating for a lot of you. Be gentle with yourselves. You don't need to go to an extreme. Just sit with these ideas a little bit. If you need help exploring this, Thunderhawk Coaching, myself, 4,000 plus hours of experience, 95% positive feedback score. I can 100% help you guys with this. We can work on taking that step together forward and building that self-esteem. But this is a really interesting process that I found that's been paramount to my own personal growth and what I've seen in clients. So I'm going to leave it here. You've been wonderful, and I've been Will. Take care.